What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to MusaGaming here, and today I'm back with another episode of account coaching series featuring Maffu's account. Now, Maffu is another content creator for Rise of Kingdoms who has created a bunch of different exciting contents and also helped me out in the past for redirecting his live viewers to mine, and was really appreciative of that. Maffu, thank you again for letting me see that huge live stream spike on my viewership. But then again, also at the same time, he actually reached out to me earlier this week when I was still in Canada. So I do apologize for making this video a little bit later than before, but to Maffu. But then again, hey, and then he said, hey, can you actually review my KvK3 account? I was wondering if I can take some of your wars. And I was like, yes, heck yes. For one, he helped me out before. I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to also kind of help him out to a degree. I don't know if he will need my help, to be really honest with you. But then again, for two, uh, it's really good for content. So I was like, heck yes, I would love to review your account. Just send me those information. And then he sent me those and those screenshots that I'm about to showcase to you throughout this PowerPoint. And then that's how this basically went. So special shout outs to Maffu ROK. If you haven't checked out his channel, feel free to find his link from the description down below. And let's just go ahead and get started on the account coaching series for this special episode. Now, Maffu RK and Maffu's account, this Maffu's KvK3 account. I'm just going to call him Maffu's KvK3 account. Maffu's KvK3 account, his name is Maffu X26. I'm assuming his kingdom is 26, ending with 26. That's usually how it goes. He's currently sitting at 53 million powers, which is good. That means that he's sitting on at least a couple marches of T5s, and also at the same time, 776 million kill points. I think that's pretty decent for someone who actually just ended KvK 1 and KvK 2, right? And nowadays, I think a lot of people just run one march for KvK 1 and KvK 2 because you get only 2 commander swaps at the end of KvK 2 going into KvK 3. And so that is actually very efficient for you to just focus on one march with 2 commanders, so that when you're done with KvK 2, you can actually convert that commander pairing into one of the meta pairing of your choice, whether that is infantry, archer, or cavalry march that you want to actually get. So I can see that already that he knows what he's doing in terms of what he does. Like if you invest anything beyond the first march, it is kind of tough for you at the end of the day, because then you have something that's gonna only work in KvK 1 and KvK 2 sitting in your march. So yeah, so I think that's what happened. But 776 million kill point for someone who's just entering KvK 3 nowadays in 2025, I think is a very, very good starting point. And looking at VIP points, he is currently sitting at VIP 15, which is really nice. That means that he's maximizing his gold heads acquisition from VIP points. And as you can see, the consecutive login days is only 338 days. He's been with this account only for 11 months, which is very, very good. In terms of what the progression that I saw from his account is absolutely amazing for someone who sit with this account for only 11 months. So yeah. So that's basically where it's sitting. And this is a little bit more background conversation that happened between me and him. And he was like, hey, Maffu RK here. I just saw one of your recent videos, wondering if you can do a collab video and do account coaching on my KvK3 entering account. And I was like, heck yes. And then he and I just talked about how we saw each other's accounts and videos and whatnot. And then he actually shared with me one of his short-term, some of his short-term goals, which was actually build a full legendary set for his cavalry march, which, as you can see from the upper left corner, it still needs a little bit of work in terms of making that most meta possible. And also at the same time, want to level up either Bai Chi to 5511 or max. So he wants to actually know if he can do that in terms of, making sure that he does make his Bai Chu 5511 or expertise. And also at the same time, he wants to actually swap armaments from Arch to Pincer and finish cap armaments. So I'll try to provide my best suggestion based on those information. And in terms of his long-term goals, he does say that he wants to expertise Philip and run 3rd Infantry March with Luce Alex, Jonabar Prime, Arthur, and then Baichu Philip, which is pretty decent lineup already. And then he wants to craft new infantry gear and then put the old gear on the infantry, the 2nd Infantry March, that is. But then again, he wants to craft the technical best set for infantry with 2 KvK weapon and helmet, and 2 leadership pants and boots, and then Sacred Grist with Hope Cloak, which is very nice. Then he can actually put the old gear into the 3rd March as well as the 2nd Infantry March, which is a good plan. And then he wants to convert even more armaments to pincer, which is a very good, solid plan. And also at the same time, get KvK accessories. So based on this, I've actually set up my kind of suggestion guideline, kind of table of contents for this video. For one, I actually said, hey, KvK set number 1 full build. I was wondering if I can actually provide him order in which that he should upgrade from his current one, which is what I'm going to go over. And I actually talked to him on a separate chat. Basically, he was asking if it makes sense for him to maximize by Qi or actually stay at 5511. So I'll provide my best suggestion on when he can actually maximize by Qi, just because of the fact that Baichi does gain a lot of power by maximizing instead of just running 5511. But then again, based on how you want to use Baichi, 5511 could be sufficient given that this is a very young account. And then also at the same time, he will be lacking a lot of gold heads if he wants to build that 3rd Infantry March. And then he wants to make switches from Arch to Pincer. I'll try to provide my best suggestion based on what I know about Arch and Pincer. So stay tuned for that. And then in the long term, he wants to expertise Philip for 3rd Infantry March. I actually made basically 3 March, 4 March, 5 March kind of suggestion for him. So stay tuned for that as well. Currently, he's considering Luce Alex, Baichu Philip, and then Jonabar Prime and Arthur. Now, he wants to craft the best infantry set, which is flawless. This is basically what I'll recommend for my infantry set, as well as anyone else who is considering maining infantry to actually start off with. But then again, I'll provide my best suggestion on which one he should craft first, just because that order does matter quite a bit. And then convert more armaments to pincer. Again, I'll provide my best suggestions on how and which armaments that he should be converting based on what he has, and also at the same time, kind of what kind of strategy that he should take for that. So that's basically the table contents. Let's go ahead and take a look at what he has currently. So his first infantry set, infantry number 1 set, is pretty good, especially for someone who's just exited KvK 2. This is actually pretty OP. As you can see, he has full iconic 1 for all of his set, all of his legendary set, and with iconic 4 on his Eternal Knight, which is very impressive. He also has full infantry stats rolled arch formation, which is quite uh crazy given that he just, like, I think armor was unlocked at KvK 2, right? So just from playing 1 KvK, he was able to get full arch formation with full infantry stats, which is kind of crazy. Also, at the same time, he does have a lot of good inscriptions, such as War Cry, which will give you, I think, 3.5% attack. Fearsome, which will give you all damage. Forceful, I think, also gives you normal damage. We can go ahead and take a look at it later, but yeah, very, very impressive arch formation, especially for an account that just exited KvK 2. Again, he only had 2 to 3 months of him just unlocking armaments in general, right? So the fact that he has something that a lot of people who are in Season of Conquest for like half a year can have on this armament is quite impressive. And the set that he's currently running is 4-piece infantry set with helmet, weapon, gloves, and boots, Eternal Knight, and Hope Cloak, which is really nice, and Greatest Glory, probably one best accessory that you can possibly craft for pre-season of Conquest, because this is going to help him basically do practically all damage of 5% extra. And he does run that silent trial, which is really good for Liu Che because Liu Che does have that combo mechanics built into his expertise, which means that whenever you're attacking with this Liu Che, you're gonna reduce the range and you'll have chance to do that twice every time you have your expertise trigger. So very strong set overall. I would say he was probably able to rally a garrison with this. So very impressive set overall. Now let's move on to his cavalry #1 set. Not as impressive, I must say, as the infantry one, but it is still pretty strong. Again, for an account that just went through 1 KvK after unlocking armament. So within 2 to 3 months, this is what he was able to get. And I'm assuming that he was able to get Hunter from luck, I would say, because I don't think you get autarch testimony in non-seasonal conquest, right? So very, very nice that he already got a special inscription on this. But let's just go ahead and take a look at what he has. So his equipment is awesome with the Navers and then credit Ash of the Dawn, which will give you the most amount of health in this entire set. And also at the same time, he does have the cavalry set boost. He's wearing the epic weapon and chest piece, which is good. And he's wearing the blue non-set piece, non-windswept helmet for cavalry, which will give you that extra defense that he needs. And also at the same time, he does run that March 3 boost with that banner, the flag, and a little bit of extra counterattack damage reduction uh, from his other accessory. Overall, pretty strong. The all damage buff nowadays is really strong. Just for those of you who are wondering why he has probably tried to roll in all damage as much as possible, is because for one, the new KvK technology that's currently active in the latest Heroic Anthem format of KvKs will actually value all damage way more than it did in the previous KvK formats, because of the fact that you don't actually get all damage from KvK tech, Crystal tech anymore. So having the all damage maximized on that is going to be crucial. You can see that he has a couple things that he didn't really roll out, reroll into cavalry stats. But then again, given that this is, again, he made this and this armament within 2 months of him entering the KvK 2. So very, very impressive as much as I can say. And then having the hunter armament is just amazing. I'm assuming that he didn't force convert this into infantry just because of the fact that he's currently using large, and then having destructive on there, or yeah, I think the destructive is what it was called. Instead of hunter, it's not going to really help his infantry stats. So I'm assuming that that's why he's using this slot for hunter for cavalry. Maybe potentially he can look into inscribing Toppler for his first scroll when he actually does convert to pincer at the end of the day. But overall, very impressive stuff. I think he can basically go ahead and upgrade this to legendary once he have time, and that was one of his main short-term goals. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he has. So this is basically the equipment set that he currently has, and my equipment suggestion for him was this as following. So cavalry #1 complete order. Again, he wanted to complete his cavalry #1 set, and I agree that is probably the best bang for your buck that you'll get out of investing in your equipment. So I actually provided my suggestion on order in which that he should be actually doing this. And KvK accessory actually is one of the first things that I would actually touch on those. The reason for this is because of the fact that horn and ring especially will provide you the maximum amount of damage uplift than upgrading those, let's say, epic pieces to legendary pieces, in my opinion. So what I suggested was that you actually craft the horn and then ring or drum, depending on which one that you're working on. Especially for the first one, which is going to be this set right here. I would say you should probably craft the horn first here, And then if you have time and if you have the materials and so forth, you can actually try to replace the greatest glory into a ring, because I think ring in the average does provide you more value at the end of the day. And this could be done for cavalry number one after you're making infantry accessory. I would actually suggest that you do make the infantry accessory first, because of the fact that you do have basically the complete infantry set for your infantry number one set. So might as well get the maximum damage out of your first infantry set before you start working on cavalry. But it is up to you in terms of how you want to order it. But then again, even if you're just starting off with cavalry number one set, I would say starting off with accessory will give you the most power out of each material that you spend at the end of the day, even though they're the most expensive one of all. Then the order in which that I do suggest my upgrade is having the cavalry set piece, set chest piece right there, because the epic one for cavalry actually only provides you epic one for cavalry only provides you attack, right? And you're actually talking about a stat swapping from attack to health, which is going to be really, really good upgrade for you. And then I actually suggested that you get the helmet, cavalry helmet replaced, because when you actually upgrade from epic to legendary for your weapon, it gets downgraded in terms of the cavalry, in terms of the stats from cavalry defense to attack. And defense with cavalry is actually almost as valuable as health. So having the flat stats upgrade from cavalry defense to cavalry defense, from replacing the current helmet to the cavalry set piece legendary helmet, is what I would suggest that you do next. And then lastly, I would actually suggest that you do replace your weapon to cavalry set weapon. The reason why I'm not suggesting that you do work on your KvK set weapon and KvK helmet and weapon is simple, is because you need to use those conquest coins for your infantry number one eventually. And then I would say, hey, infantry number one, I think you should basically craft infantry number one's new equipments in this order, so that you can actually have the infantry number two basically transition over those equipments as well. And then I would say KvK weapon and helmet is going to be number one priority, just because of the fact that as per my previous suggestion, if you already had ring and horn crafted, the most amount of kind of upgrade that you get from this is going to be from your helmet and weapon replacement to KvK set pieces. And then I would say craft the Sacred Crisp. And I would say don't use it until you actually have the leadership boots and pants actually crafted, because of the fact that two-piece bonus for infantry gloves and boots will actually outscale the one that you actually give with the Sacred Crisp, which is going to only give you 0.5% extra stat. And then work on leadership pants and boots, which will give you that extra health. And then infantry number two hope cloak. And then if your second infantry hope cloak does crit, just give it to your first one. Is what I said just basically over here. And then horn and drum. Again, I think horn is necessary, but then again, drum is optional, because you already have greatest glory. And then if you want to replace that, you can actually replace that with a ring instead of drum, and then give that drum to basically the second infantry. And then that's basically what this is saying. And then after you're done with cavalry number one, infantry number two set, I would say just go ahead and work on your archer set, because archers are broken nowadays. And I actually did provide my suggestion on what you can use for archers at the end of the day. All right, so here is what I would suggest. This is this is very, very difficult right, for you to maybe navigate. But then again, so here is the number or order in which that I would suggest, which is again, work on your horn for your cavalry number two, cavalry number one, and then drum, and then chest, helmet, weapon. Pretty simple, right? And then I would say work on either and both of your KvK weapon and helmet, and then Sacred Crisp, but don't replace it until you craft the boost and then slap it on to your infantry number 1. And then infantry number one's pens for leadership for that maximum health value. And then you can actually work on your horn and ring at the end of the day for you to basically have this set maximized. I think I might have put the order for horn and ring, but then again, your number 1 infantry set should basically run horn and ring, in my opinion. In average, it does perform better, I think, than the Greatest Glory, especially in the new KvK format where you do get more all damage value at the end of the day. And then you can craft the horn for your second infantry set at the end of the day too. Now, I did have several different options for you to actually craft the Archer number 1 set hereafter. One thing that I do suggest is just going with the 6-piece Archer Dragon Breast set, just because of the fact that, one, I think the skill damage for Chin is just broken, and the fact that you can get that 4-piece bonus with the skill damage is going to be really, really OP. And having Ring and Horn is going to be, I think, the best. You can potentially argue that you can replace the Horn with the skill damage buffing accessories, apparently. But I would say just craft the horn just because it is more versatile. You can use it on any other commander, archer commanders as well. So I would say still the horn is the best at the end of the day. I did also lay out a couple other options. I'll go over them briefly here and there. For one, I think I actually made a mistake on this one. So actually, let's go ahead and exit this. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. I think I meant to actually have something else there, but yeah. So if you're comfortable investing in your archer as much as you can actually replace the 2 pieces of your helmet and weapon into the KvK sets, and then you can actually run the 4-piece Dragon Breath set as you can see here. This one actually does perform better for Chin, I heard, than having the 2 pieces of leadership equipments and then running 2-2-2 sets. But then again, your Chin is not going to be the only archer character you're going to have throughout the history of Rising Kingdoms for you here onward. So you can craft either or of 2-2-2 set or the 2 pieces of KvK set and then 4 pieces of Dragon Breast set. I would honestly just recommend that you either craft the full Dragon Breast set or the KvK plus 4-piece Dragon Breast set for Archer, just because I think Archers eventually are gonna. Archers has been just going the direction of doing as much skill damage as possible. So I think having that 4-piece set bonus for Dragon Breast set is going to be crucial. If you want to use KvK coins on these, Conquest coins on these, you can, but I would just personally just run the 6-piece Dragon Breast set at the end of the day, just because of the fact that you do need to invest in your infantry number 1's KvK weapon and helmet first. And in terms of armaments, you have a lot of different armaments that you sent me that were very exciting. For the scroll slot, you have the battle ready and the well clad. Basically, will give you the 3.5% defense on top of having the rare inscription here. I would say I would convert this arch scroll into pincer, but not really inscribe the special inscription on this because of how powerful having those 2 special inscriptions, those 2 rare and normal inscriptions on this is gonna be until you get popular for both of your infantry pincer set. So so that's basically what I would say on here. And then you can use this until after you convert this to pincer, you can use this until you basically have um the top player for your number 1 as well. I would not use this for Arch. He's already fully aware of that, and that's why he's currently using the Warcry version of it. Because of the rare inscription actually eating up a lot of rage, just like how the Arch's legendary inscription and rare inscription, both of them actually does take up a lot of your rage just to perform a little bit better on one of your auto attack, which I don't recommend that you use for your field, even though you have that well planned along with this inscription. So he's currently using this one right here, which will give you that 3.5% extra attack on top of 2.4% attack, 3.2% defense, and then 1.7% health, which is really, really good. Again, Maffu seems to know what he's doing 100%, as far as I can tell. And Horn of the North. This is the inscription that gives you, I think, 1% extra all damage, which is nice. I think you can use this until you get either Demolisher or Rare Inscription for your Pincer. I would just convert this into Pincer and then go ahead and use it until you get one of those Rare or Special Inscription for Instrument. But the moment that you get Rare or Special Inscription for your Pincer formation, I would suggest that you use either of those because of how powerful Pincer's special inscription and rare inscriptions are for the instrument slot, especially. And having the battle standard of the North, just having raw stats is going to be really, really valuable for here. And that's what you exactly have, because you can always eventually convert, inscribe the banner special inscription on this, and then having just enough raw stats here, it just makes me feel ease at hand. Hey, like this guy knows what he's doing, and also at the same time, this is really, really powerful armament that he can use even for the future of Season of Conquest that he has ahead of him. And Emblem of the North. This is very strong armament as well, having Forceful, which will give you that extra normal damage buff, which will convert to extra pincer damage. The smite damage buff is really nice. He has mass roll on defense, 2.3% march speed instead of attack is nice. 2.3% health is also very nice. Evasive will give you that extra tankiness, I believe. And all that just combined together, very strong set. Again, I would say convert all of them, but I would say don't use this arch formation just because it does have battle ready and it's just not good for arch formation specifically. But then again, I would use this armament, converted version of armament, on your arch, on your pincer formation until you get your toppler inscription. I would actually not overwrite this one right here until you basically are ready to craft the second one, and then until you basically have enough scroll legendary inscriptions. I would actually just use this as is until you get your second toppler at the end of the day. And he did tell me that he does have other options, which is really nice. I would say this one that he did send me is a very perfect candidate for this, which has very high rolls on stats. You can see that he has 9.2% stats rolled into this one right here, which is, I think the max is 10.5% per each armament. So a very strong one to put special inscription on. And that's basically what I suggest, right? For armaments, your current plan is very solid. You might already know this, but do the legendary inscriptions or scrolls and banner after the conversion. So if you actually put toppler or what's this, airtight, I think that's what it's called for pincer. If you actually put those special inscriptions inscribed before you convert to, let's say, pincer, it will take you extra however many conversion slots that you need to just waste at the end of the day. So I would say go ahead and convert them to pincer first and then inscribe those. You might already know this, but just wanted to give you a little bit of heads up. And also at the same time, I would not overwrite the inscription on the current scroll, which is this one right here, just because of the fact that it does have a lot of value as rare and rare inscription and having that 3.5% extra defense. You can use that just as is until you get 2 topplers at the end of the day. Again, that's basically what it says. Too good. The current inscription that you have for this is too good, and then you can use while you obtain your toppler inscription, which is gonna take a bit, right? Even if you win the next one, you become autark, you will need the second autark for you to actually get 2 toppler inscription, and that could take a while, right? So just use this in the meantime as pincer if possible. I would try to get the all damage from scroll and banner just because of, again, the new KvK technology values all damage a lot more. So if you have scroll and banner, basically all damage rolled into it, I'll try to see if you can actually roll that into more usable for the attack and defense stats as well. And then if you have something closer to 2% all damage, that's something that I would definitely use. But for infantry, it doesn't matter as much because of how valuable health is for infantry. But just wanted to give you a heads up. That's what I would suggest. If you have really high roll all damage into either the banner the or the scroll, which is going to be basically the first two slots, this one right here and then this one right here. Yeah, save those is what I would recommend. And this is basically what this says. And then all damage, 20% all damage from tech is removed, and then 40% all damage is nerfed to 30%. Actually, I saw this. I reviewed my current KvK, the Pioneer version for Hero Ganthem. Apparently, the 40% all damage is still there, but having that 20% all damage removed is going to be huge for upping the value of all damage at the end of the day, too. Emblem and instrument are all both great to convert, and while you actually get the legendary inscriptions for these, again, emblem and instrument, the only two ways that you can actually get those legendary and scribe is for one, you getting just extremely lucky with those, and then two, you can actually try to aim for those with mileages. Emblem for pincer, I think the instrument is the most powerful. So if you have your arch and wedge actually set to emblem, which is basically what a lot of people do for a typical like emblem, because it does give you flat like normal damage, smite damage, and skill damage buff. I'll just say change that to instrument, because it will give you either butterfly effect, it will give you demolisher, it will just give you a lot of different the power proportion of the latest legendary inscriptions has been more focused on the instrument armament inscription, special inscription at the end of the day. So I'll just say set your mileages at the instrument instead of emblem for now. And you can use this emblem of the north converted, because that forceful is going to give you a lot of power as well as evasive for your pincer at the end of the day. And this is my commander suggestion in terms of what you can work on. Currently, you're thinking about doing Alex, Lucia, Alex, Baichu, Philip, and then Joan of Arc Prime and Arthur, which is really, really good as is. I would say if you do build on the next one, I would say, hey, after you finish your Philip, you can work on William Wallace, or if you can work on two different commanders at the same time, you can actually jump right into building your fourth march, which is going to be Qin Zhuge or Qin YSG. I put Zhuge in there just because, you know, Zhuge is the latest, and I didn't want to add another slot here. But you can use either or of Qin and Zhuge and Qin Zhuge and Qin YSG. But I'm assuming that you use YSG to convert into either of like any of those commanders. So I'm assuming that you don't have YSG. So if you're investing in a new commander, I would say having Zhuge invested in is going to be more versatile option at the end of the day. But if you're going this route, which is you already invested in William Wallace for your next commander, I would say then you can work on your pull to make 4 different marches with 2 infantry, 2 cavalry, with Philip slapped onto Arthur, and then pull running with Joan of Arc Prime, and then basically have a full kind of 4 march setup right here, and then full 4 march setup here if you went another archer route. But eventually, this is what I would suggest that you try to aim for 5 march suggestion with Liu Alice, Bai Chu William Wallace, and then Huo Joan of Arc Prime, and Qin Zhuge Liang, and then Arthur Philip. This is all possible with just 3 extra commanders, I think. Quo, William Wallace, and no, four different commanders. So Quo, William Wallace, Chin, and Zhuge Liang. So yeah, I think this is what I would suggest that you run for 5 March options. If you have any different suggestions, you can run those as well. But for now, I think this is the best that I can come up with from my head, given what you have, without investing too much into other commanders like CJ in 2025. I don't think you should be investing in CJ. By the time that you're done with CJ, I think you will have a better Smite commander just across the horizon. So I would make those investments now. I would just say work on this lineup right here, and then look to replace the Alex with the eventual release of next Smite damage commander at the end of the day, or that however you like to utilize that commander at the end of the day. That's basically it for the commander lineup suggestion. I'll say in terms of Baichu 5511 or expertise and expertise timing that you asked for, 5511 and then expertise Baichu have two very different features. 5511 is basically focusing on pure smite damage, DPS, as well as the necessary stats for you to stay relevant to the KvK, which is good for pokes and AoE. But then again, AoE and run meta, it does fit that current meta in the field. And expertise by Chu as super tanky malice spike tank feature to his commander, which allows you to stay in fight as well as an anti-swarm march as well. So my recommendation for this is expertise by Chu when not, then work on your Philip. The reason why I'm actually suggesting that you expertise by Chu and then work on your Philip is simple. It's because by Chu Lucia combo is instantly usable, and that's probably what you're using at this very moment. And then you also need time to craft infantry number 2 set, right? If you wanna go 5511 by Chu and then try to expertise Philip right away, you may not have a march that you can use with by Chu Philip that you were thinking about, right? Again, if you already have Liu Chalice and you expertise Bai Chu, you can just run still 2 marches with Bai Chu Liu Che, and then Joan of Arc Prime with Arthur, which are 2 very, very meta marches. But one thing that I did want to again emphasize is that you will need time to craft the infantry number 2 set, right? So if you expertise Bai Chu first, then you can actually buy yourself some time for you to actually get that infantry number 2 set at the end of the day, which will take a long time because you first need to craft like the ring and horn and everything that you need for infantry and cavalry number 1. So yeah, I would say just expertise by Chu, maximize your damage output from that infantry number 1 that you have. And it says right here, like your infantry number set is very strong. Maximize the value of infantry number 1 set, and will help you to perform better on the field versus working on non-equipped Alex Yuche by Chi field. If you're working on your infantry number 2 set on top of working on your Philip, you're just gonna have like 2 mediocre infantry marches, which are not gonna perform well on the field. But then again, if you just go ahead and focus on Baichu first, and maximizing your, output with like accessories and whatnot, and perfecting your cavalry number 1 set, having Joan of Arc Prime, Arthur, and Bai Chu Lu Che as a 2 march setup will actually help you perform better and trade better in KvK. In my opinion, that's why I'm suggesting that you do go ahead and expertise Bai Chu first before you actually work on Philip. All right, so that was it for everything that I have prepared for you, Maffu. I hope this was helpful for you. Sorry, I mumbled a little bit here and there just because I was just reading this as I was like, what am I saying here? But then again, I hope this was helpful for you. If you guys found this video helpful, please go ahead and drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you're one of the Maffu subscribers who have visited this particular account coaching, I do account coaching series for anyone who actually asks for me on the Discord channel from the link down below. So join the Discord from the link down below and then direct message me on Discord asking for one of your very own unique account coding series. I'll provide as much in-depth details, suggestion as much as I can possible. So feel free to follow me, and then also at the same time, just reach out to me on Discord for one of those videos. I'll most likely post video about your account coaching series like this one right here. So if you want your very own version of this, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you, Maffu. And for those of you who are not Maffu, and I'll see you all in the next video. All right, peace.